Hi chess friends, this is the FIDE master Alessandro Santagati, and this is a new video about how to play against the Scandinavian Defense. In the last video, we focused attention about b5, and we saw that this variation is not so good for black. Usually here, black tries to play bishop g4, and in this case my tip is play simply bishop g2, so bring the bishop in fianchetto, and after knight c6, black can make a very good pressure against the pawn d4. The point is, if this pressure is so strong or not, I think you can simply ignore that for this time and you can play castle. And now black can play castle queenside. After that, d4 is under attack by 3 pieces, knight, queen and rook, only 2 defenders and 1 is pinned. So it seems hard for white, but not a problem, I think. Because in this position, if here is also playable, I think, like h3. But after bishop takes, queen takes d4, I think white has a compensation for the pawn. So this position is completely playable for white, but I think we can take a better position another way. So my tip is, after that, play d5. And this move is very strong, because if you take immediately the pawn with knight d5, I can simply take it again, and after queen takes d5, rook takes, the idea is knight g5. Now the knight is attacking f7, and the bishop is attacking the rook. So nothing to do to defend f7, because if you play rook f5, now have f3, and then g4, and the only way to do something for black now is give the exchange, so white will be much better. So this is a very interesting idea, d5, and after d5, I think black can do, for example, or knight b4, or knight d5. This can be another option. If knight d5, I think bishop f4 is enough. You pin the knight, and it's not a big problem with this, because you take, and after, for example, bishop takes f3, queen takes, the queen is under attack, so if queen b6, you can simply play rook fd1, and the pawn now is not a problem for white. If e5 could be another option, I can simply play the en passant, and after queen takes e6, I think white is fine. There is good activity for the white pieces, and I can simply play rook fe1, and the white is a little better now. Okay, so we go back. Another option could be knight b4. In this way I can simply play h3, and if bishop takes f3, can be an option, I take with the queen, because it's not possible to take the pawn c2, because there is this trick, and I win the knight. So it doesn't work. Let's check and double attack. So after that, after queen takes f3, maybe black can try to take the pawn, and in this way I can simply play rook d1, now e6, now knight takes d5, now pawn takes is forced, because if you take with the knight, I can simply play c4, so e takes d5, and now c4 again, because the pawn is pinned, because I can attack d7, and you cannot push the pawn, you cannot take, and if you play, I don't know, for example, queen b6, I can just take the pawn, and white is fine, so no problems. Well, so this can be another variation. If h3 and bishop h5, simply bishop f4, and white is fine again. Bishop e3, queen back, queen e2, and it's not possible. So maybe it's possible to take the pawn, but I can simply trade, knight takes, and now rook d1, and white is fine, because I can simply threaten this, c4, if queen somewhere, so e6, there's g4, bishop g6, and knight g5. And now the only move to defend the knight in a good way is e5, but there is this nice sacrifice. You have a mistake with the rook, and now f4. Queen is forced to go away, so d6 for example, and I can play e5. And I win the bishop, the rook is under attack, and if you play 6, I can simply play knight e4, and at the next move, I can take this bishop. So this is a very nice variation for white. So I think that knight b4 is not good enough. Another option could be also queen c5. Queen c5 is very nice, but I can play bishop e3. The queen is under attack, so maybe queen a5, and I can simply take the knight. There is a very nice sacrifice. White can sacrifice his queen, because when you take, you can simply take it. You take, rook takes d1, and now have rook and piece for the queen, but there is a very strong attack against this king. And for example, c6 to block the bishop, but now knight e4, I can also give you my rook, because I have knight takes c6, and now the queen has to go away, so c7 for example, but I take the bishop. Now the attack is very strong. No defense, the only move I think is give the queen for 2 pieces, and the white can have a better endgame. If you play another move, I don't know, we can imagine e6, there is knight a7 check, the only move is king b8 I think. Maybe it's also possible cover, but in this way I can play knight exd5, and after that rook takes, there is this square attack, so king b8, and now rook d3, with a simple idea to check here. If a5 to cover, simply knight b5, queen somewhere, and bishop f4 check. So I think here now the game is finished, because if king c8, there is knight a7, and if you take the knight, there is bishop h3, and now the only move is king d7, and white take a better position after that, because I take the queen for free. Probably in this position after knight a7, yeah, I think it is fine, no problem. Okay, yeah, so black must sacrifice the queen again, and the white is much better in that game. So this is another interesting idea for white to play in this variation. And if black doesn't take, it's the same thing, because when I take on d1, rook d8 is very strong. Oh, sorry, rook d8, king takes, and now knight e4 check. So it's the same position we can see, because after c6, knight takes c6, and white is winning. So a very nice position for white, and very nice sacrifice. So my idea is, after knight c6, play simply castle. When castle queenside, play d5, because it's not possible to take the pawn for black immediately. It's not possible to take the pawn ladder, so you will reach a very nice position. And I think the best move for black maybe is knight e5 here, but after knight e5, bishop f4, and the white will be slightly better. If black will play queen c5 or knight b4, white will be much better. So this is the very important idea for this variation and for this video. Okay, for this video is all. If you have questions, feel free to comment below, and see you for the next video, in which we will see another interesting variation of the Scandinavian Defense with Queen d6, because we must see also other variations about that. Thank you for the attention, and see you for the next video. Bye. Remember to follow me on social networks and share the video with your friends. Thanks!